Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of UA Eats. I'm UA, and I am in the Upper West Side neighborhood of Manhattan around the 72nd Street and Broadway area. And yeah, I'm actually standing right outside the famous Grace Papaya. We're definitely gonna review Grace Papaya for the channel sometime. But we're actually not here for hot dogs because down the street from Grace Papaya, there's a pastrami place that I get frequently recommended. And you know that pastrami is something that we eat a lot on this channel, so I know I can't miss it. The place is called Pastrami Queen, and it's a Jewish deli, and as its name suggests, I presume that it specializes primarily in pastrami. I also hear that this place is a little bit more affordable. I hear that they kind of have like a half sandwich deal. Now, when you order pastrami, yes, it's overstuffed, yes, it's humongous, but it's also like 26, 28 bucks, and that's a tough pill to swallow, especially since most people don't need to eat that much food in one sitting. But at Pastrami Queen, they have a half sandwich combo deal. So you can get a half sandwich for like 15 bucks, which is much more affordable. So let's see if this pastrami is great, and at the very least, it could be one of the better, if not best, pastrami deals in the city. So let's check it out. It looks like they opened a location of Charles Pan Fried Chicken, also in the Upper West Side. Now, this is a pretty highly regarded hole-in-the-wall fried chicken joint in Harlem, so gonna have to try this sometime. But of course, we're not gonna try the offshoot. We're gonna try the original Harlem location, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so it is freezing as heck today, and you know, at first I thought they were closed. I thought that was like paper, you know, blocking all the windows, but it turns out that it's just so cold that that's steam. And with how cold it is, a homemade matzo ball soup really would hit the spot, so let's give this place a shot. Okay guys, so we're seated at Pastrami Queen. Now it is a little bit past 10 a.m. so they just opened, so it's pretty empty, but it kind of has like a, you know, diner feel / old-fashioned Jewish deli feel to it. The walls too are kind of lined with pictures of old-fashioned Jewish delis, some that have gone and passed, and you sort of feel like you're almost in like a museum eating in here. It's a really, really cool atmosphere. Let's take a look at the menu real quick. So we're seated at one of these booths, so I got a paper menu and then I'm gonna order. Now, of course, this is Pastrami Queen. So as you can see, pastrami is front and center on their menu, and it's even engraved in like a box there, you know, like a double front and center advertising. And I gotta say, those prices are more than reasonable. I mean, $24.50 for a full sandwich, that's a bit average. I presume that's a full sandwich, but a junior sandwich, which I presume is a half sandwich, 13 bucks? Honestly, that's a pretty good policy because, you know, it's often hard to eat a full pastrami sandwich in one sitting. I could do it easily back in my college days. Nowadays, I'm, you know, trying to watch the waistline a little bit. So half sandwich for half the price, what an idea. And then other than that, it does seem like this place kind of really specializes mostly in pastrami and corned beef and, you know, similar foods like roast turkey and things like that, because there's not too much else on the menu. You know, no like burgers or like burritos or things like that. Just your OG Jewish deli, pastrami, corned beef, that kind of food. Although, of course, we're gonna get a matzo ball soup because we were convinced by the ad outside. Chicken in a pot, really, really interesting. Maybe we should try that sometime. I presume that's what they're making in the back. I saw them, you know, stuffing some chickens on like a skewer. Yeah, those chickens, that might be it. Roasted half chicken dinner. Maybe they're prepping them in advance. And you know, we can't go to a Jewish deli without getting an egg cream. We gotta get one of those. And they only have chocolate here, which could be showing, you know, that they're really traditional because chocolate is the original egg cream flavor. Although personally, I'm more of a vanilla guy. I feel like the chocolate egg cream sometimes can be too sweet, too syrupy, kind of like you're just drinking chocolate milk that's fizzy. The vanilla ones I find to be a little bit more unique, but we'll give it a chance, why don't we? Chocolate egg cream. Let's go ahead and order and, you know, get some food. Actually, before we order, I just realized that they have a lunch special that looks pretty good. It's $23 for a half sandwich and any soup. Actually, on second thought, the half sandwich is only 13 bucks, right? So 13 plus 11 for the matzo ball soup, so 24 bucks, right? I mean, it looks pretty good, but I guess you only save $1. Hey, a penny saved is a penny earned, right? So I guess it's better than nothing. Excellent, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so we just ordered and the food came really, really fast, like maybe within just barely even 3 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. And we ordered a lot of things. We got a piping hot matzo ball soup, we got an egg cream, and we got our sandwich. Now, I will be honest, I kind of read some reviews before I came here, and some recent reviews were not super kind to this place, but maybe it was just, you know, a few bad days, because the matzo ball soup is looking pretty solid. I mean, the broth is looking pretty clear. They also threw in some noodles, too. Some common complaints were that the pastrami sandwich was way too thin. Some people said that it was like a very thin slice of pastrami, not really worth the price, but honestly, for a half sandwich, this is looking pretty solid if you ask me. Looks like a very fair portion size to me. Okay, I wish the bread was a little bit more seeded, but you know, it's okay. It's overall looking not bad. But this chocolate egg cream, we gotta drink this right away. Just look at this beautiful foamy head. Does that just not look like a wonderful egg cream to you? This might be the best one we've ever received in any of these delis. Looking pretty good. Let's drink this before the head recedes, why don't we? Let's try the egg cream. Oh, you know what they teach you in school, you know what your mama taught you. Nothing more nutritious in the morning for breakfast than a chocolate egg cream. That's what they say, right? Well, I mean, people drink chocolate milk in the morning, right? That's sort of a breakfast thing. Okay, all right. I mean, let's face it, this definitely isn't the best thing to drink for breakfast / brunch, but it's excellent. I mean, just look, this foamy head is, you know, still here after a few minutes. Like, it really hasn't receded much. So this egg cream was made with a great amount of carbonation, and it was really freshly made and freshly stirred. Really, the skill and the technique and the speed of which they made this really, you know, made the whole drink, you might say. Like, it tastes fizzy, it tastes chocolatey. It does taste like a nice, refreshing chocolate soda, and not like you're just drinking like a mouthful of chocolate syrup. Because I've had some bad egg creams before, and you know, some egg creams, some egg creams are like way too sweet, way too syrupy. I even had the egg cream that is supposedly the best one at, what's that place called? Was it called Ray's Candy Shop, I think, in the St. Mark's NYU area? But I just found that it was way too sweet. It was like gross and syrupy, and it literally tasted like I was just drinking syrup from a bottle. But here, they got it down. They got the ratio down. You taste that milky flavor, fizzy carbonation just right, foamy head, not too sweet, and look, even after, you know, several minutes of talking, the foamy head is still staying intact. Tells you all you need to know about that, in my opinion. Excellent, the best egg cream I've ever had. Now let's turn our attention to the matzo ball soup, and it is freezing, so this is very welcome. Ooh, just look at that clear broth. All right. You know, it's pretty good, but it could use some salt. Would be ideal if they had the seasoning down in the recipe itself, but you know, I guess in this case they leave the power in your hands. Plus, maybe it helps with people who may have hypertension. So, salt and pepper, but not too much. And it is time to review the soup a little bit more seasoned. Oh yeah, that did it. Just a tad more salt. Just add your own salt and you got a good thing going. This broth is pretty excellent. It's clear. You really taste like a pure, clean chicken flavor. Presuming that this is made from real chicken, which I believe it is. You know, obviously there's gonna be some oil in it, but it's not overly oily, you know? It's not overly fatty. Now, of course, my only gripe is I wish the portion were a little bit bigger. Like, oftentimes when you get these matzo ball soups, it's like you're drinking from like a bird bath. But as you can see, it is not the biggest portion size. This is a lunch special, so you know, you're paying for half portions of everything. So I am going to presume that their full portion is larger. But let's try some of this matzo, why don't we? And this matzo ball is looking pretty fluffy and pretty awesome if you ask me. Okay, let's try another bite of the matzo ball. And this one seems to have soaked up a lot of the soup. You know, the soup is pretty good, but the matzo balls are slightly lacking in flavor a little bit. Like, I would say they're a little bit bland, and I know like the seasoning is on the side here. Like, I know you're expected to do your own seasoning at this restaurant, but I feel like with these matzo balls, even though they do soak up the broth, I feel like they don't quite soak up enough salt from the broth. Like, they at least need more salt within the matzo balls themselves. Other than being under-seasoned though, these matzo balls are extremely fluffy. They're extremely light, and as you can see by me cutting one in half, they kind of like float on top. They say they're sinkers and floaters. These are floaters. They're light and airy. You really feel like this is a very healthy meal. The egg cream, of course, was not great for breakfast, but this matzo ball absolutely is. What a healthy way to start your day, or to end your day, or, you know, meet it in the middle if you're eating for lunch. So I just wish they were a little bit more seasoned. It is time for us to review the pastrami sandwich. And at least at first glance, the pastrami sandwich is looking pretty solid to me. It's got a nice color. I like all the bark on the edges. It's sliced real thin. I get the feeling that this pastrami is probably machine sliced. Not many people hand slice them like Katz's Deli does. If it's sliced thinly, then that might lend itself to a very delicate and fall in your mouth flavor, which is why a lot of sandwich meats are thin sliced in the first place. Like the Philly cheesesteak or the Italian beef sandwich, they slice it thinly so that the meat goes further, and also so that it's more palatable. If you're using like a cheaper cut of meat, that's why they slice them thinly, so that you can really chew them. And it's looking real fatty as well. I can't wait, guys. Let's take a bite first of it on its own before we add mustard, because a lot of good pastrami sandwiches will stand on their own. All right, first bite. Let's add some mustard and then try another bite. Even though the tube is bright yellow, so it looks like it's yellow mustard, it's actually a pretty nice looking brown mustard on the inside. All right, let's see if this makes a difference. Okay, the mustard was not really able to save it that much. I will say that obviously this is still New York, so compared to pastrami sandwiches outside of New York, this is probably still solid, but for New York, I would say not one of the better ones I've had. I was hoping that the added dimension of the mustard would kind of add like another flavor dimension which would offset some things, but not so much. Unfortunately, the pastrami is quite tough, like it's quite chewy. There's a difference, of course, between like a pleasant chewiness, you know, like a meat where, you know, it's chewy and you want to chew it so that you savor the juices in every bite. And then there's also chewy because like your teeth just can't break it apart, and I guess chewy versus tough, and nobody really likes tough, you know? And in this case, as beautiful as this sandwich may be, You know, the meat is quite tough. Like, it kind of doesn't come apart, and it sort of feels like there's like fibers holding it all together. Like, here, let me take a piece here and try to show you. As you can see, it does come apart when you pull it, but you sort of see like there's like some tendons or something that's kind of like holding it together. It comes apart, you know, with some force, but you really need to apply force to pull it apart. Like, as you can see here, it's almost like there's like rubber bands, you know, coursing throughout this whole pastrami. See, look, this one's even almost hanging on and pulling the rest of the sandwich with it. Like, just look at how elastic this strand is. Can I even break it off? Ugh. We got like a meat rubber band here, like for real. Maybe I should save this and bring it home in case Tina wants to use it for like a hairband or something. Now, let me talk about what I like. I really do like the bark. The spice rub on the bark is quite nice. Nice spice rub flavor in every bite. It is pleasant, and I do really like that when pastrami sandwiches do that. Unfortunately though, I would say what I like kind of stops there. Like, the meat is also even kind of cold. Like, at some delis, if you get there early enough, when they first open, the meat is even piping hot. Here it's quite cold, and you know, it's not even lukewarm. Some meat slices are even just cold, so the chewy, tough nature of the meat plus the cold temperature, definitely a letdown, and the bread is also not the best quality bread, I would say. Like, I would prefer a more seeded rye bread, but it does look pretty, you know, like if you catch the light properly, you know, if you're posting it to Instagram or something, it definitely, you know, looks the part. I would say, overall, pretty mediocre. It may be a good price, but you definitely get what you pay for here, I think. But I'm gonna finish this, and I'm gonna finish this matzo ball soup, which I generally enjoyed, and even without the head, I am still gonna finish drinking this egg cream, which this egg cream was fantastic, so stay tuned for some final thoughts outside. Alright guys, so we just finished eating at Pastrami Queen, and I felt like it was only okay. I mean, the matzo ball soup was decent, I thought. It was passable. The egg cream was fantastic, but the sandwich itself, you know, the place is called Pastrami Queen, so you really go there for the pastrami sandwich, not just a deli sandwich. You specifically go there for pastrami. The pastrami sandwich itself was just not impressive. It was way too tough, way too chewy. Now, it was a very good price. I mean, it was only 23 bucks for a sandwich and a matzo ball soup. Very good price. Probably one of the best priced Jewish delis that I've been to so far, but that being said, I mean, you kind of get what you pay for. I don't know about you guys. I mean, as much as I would complain about how much pastrami sandwiches are at other Jewish delis, I mean, 26 bucks is definitely unreasonable in my opinion, no matter how good the sandwich is, but I still sort of would rather pay a little bit more and get a good product than pay less and get like a mediocre product that you don't really feel good about after eating. So my advice for you, based on the pastrami sandwich itself, I think you can skip this place, Pastrami Queen. It's pretty mediocre, and on top of that, while the Upper West Side is a pretty nice place, a very beautiful, peaceful neighborhood, especially if you're a tourist, it's probably not worth coming all the way up here just to eat here. So at least when it comes to the pastrami, I think you can do better. But I may be back to Pastrami Queen someday, not based on the sandwich, but based on that egg cream. I gotta say, that was the best egg cream I've ever had, and I've had many at this point, and I think this one definitely stood out. So I might be back someday to, you know, sit in there, relax, and sip a chocolate egg cream. That is, you know, if they'll let me back in, if they ever watch this video. But anyways, guys, what do you guys think of Pastrami Queen? And what's your favorite place to get pastrami in New York City or anywhere in the world? Let me know in the comments, because great minds eat alike. If you like my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. That way you stay up to date whenever I post another video. It's beautiful out here in New York's Upper West Side, so let's go for a walk, especially since it's a beautiful day. So until next time, I'll see you later.